Hi everybody, I'm Christie Bishop, and this is what nobody tells us. This is the first episode. I'm actually doing this. You guys, thank you so much for coming along with me on this journey and being a witness to something that's been in my head for the past year and a half, but really, if I'm being honest, for a very long time, and I'm finally just jumping off the ledge and I'm doing it. Again, the show that I'm creating is called What Nobody Tells Us. And the reason that I'm creating the show is very simple. It's all about giving back. My husband and I have had an extraordinary journey. His name is Bryan Bishop. We've had an extraordinary journey over the past 14 years. A lot of you know this, and those who are new listeners, first of all, thank you, and I'm so happy to have you here. But he was diagnosed in 2009, 3 months before we were set to get married. He was diagnosed with an inoperable brain tumor and was given 6 to 12 months to live. Now, the only reason that I can say that without completely bursting into tears is a unique combination of severe PTSD and just time since that diagnosis. But to say that our journey over the past 14 years has been up, down, and all around is the understatement of the century. But what I do know to be true is a 30-year-old who is thrust into that situation and starts to begin a life of, for myself, going from being a marketing executive with a really extraordinary career ahead of me that I was lucky enough to still have happen, but to have this undercurrent and really this second life of caregiving for a late 20-something and then early 30-something and now 40-something husband, going from chemotherapy appointment to chemotherapy appointment to radiation appointment to speech therapy, occupational therapy, physical therapy, and not being able to necessarily participate in day-to-day life and feeling extremely isolated, depressed, hopeless at times, extremely hopeful and optimistic at other times, but really feeling very, very, very alone. And that is the God's honest truth. Now, I am not an introvert by any stretch of the imagination, and I've always been one who's been very open with what I'm going through and have always wanted to help other people with my perspective. I've noticed a very specific through line in my own life where I've been the go-to for people on my work teams and in my personal life, friends, even friends' parents and family members, and certainly strangers who have reached out to us on social media to ask questions and get advice and perspective on difficult situations that they're going through. And I have found immense gratification in being able to help people. You know, somebody who receives a terminal diagnosis, someone who has a family member who was just diagnosed with cancer, someone who is recovering from an eating disorder, somebody who lost someone to COVID, someone who is experiencing a very difficult miscarriage and the emotional fallout and physical fallout of that loss. I have been through all of these things with other people in my life, and I've been lucky enough to be able to really cut through the bullshit and have real conversations with people to give them hope, to give them resources, and I think what's most valuable is to help connect them with other people who have been through the same thing, who are willing to speak with them and become a source of support for them. Now, the reason that is so important is because I'm sure everyone who lives in the U.S. here would agree, American society isn't necessarily great at difficult conversations. Like, difficult topics and uncomfortable conversations are things that people often shy away from. It's, A, it's generational, B, it's societal, C, it's cultural here. There are certainly other cultures around the world that are far more comfortable surrounding people with love and with support and with assistance very naturally and having these open conversations around very difficult topics. But unfortunately, at least from what I've seen, American society is not that way. And I am only one person, but I really want to try to change that one conversation at a time. I want to destigmatize difficult conversations, and I want to remove the taboo from tough topics. for better or for worse. I think one of the things that has happened to me as Bryan and I have gone through our incredibly difficult situation that remains incredibly difficult to this day is that how do I phrase this? I shy away from, no, I don't shy away from it. I really can't stand small talk. I'm just going to say it. I'm just going to say it very honestly, because that's what we're here to do. I think life is way too short, and I don't do well with small talk that doesn't mean anything to anyone. I would much rather dive right into, hey, how are you? What's going on in your life? Like, tell me the good, bad, and the ugly, and I will sit here and listen and help however I can and listen without judgment and see how I can help. And if anything from my own experience will help, please, I will share. If I know someone who can help you, I will make that introduction if you're comfortable and they're comfortable, right? I would just rather get right to it and hear about what's on people's minds and in their hearts, instead of talking about oh, tell me what you do. What's your job? There's nothing wrong with that per se, but it doesn't fulfill me in a way that I know really lights me up inside, but also I know is so missing from so many people's lives. And I know so many people who are suffering in silence, because I was one of them, have been one of them, and I still am one of them sometimes, despite the fact that we have an incredible support system of loved ones, and again, even strangers who have listened to my husband's podcast over the years. What Nobody Tells Us is here to help people going through the tough conversations, tough, difficult situations, and to prepare them. But it's also here to help their friends and family who don't know how to approach it. And instead of following a first instinct, which is to pull back, which makes the person going through it feel even more isolated, I want to help people and then give them the tools to really lean in and get involved and offer their help. Even if it's just something as simple as, I don't know what to say, and this is awful, and I love you, and I'm here for you, even though I'm going to fumble my way through this, but I want to fumble my way through this together with you. Even if it's really uncomfortable, I'm here for you. And that takes so much bravery and courage from people, but it also takes bravery and courage from someone going through the difficult situation to put their guard down and ask for help. And I certainly know I didn't for a long time, far too long. But the more that I can help people, the more that we can uncover these difficult topics and really get to the heart of them to help people who may not be brave enough or simply ready to talk about it. That's why I'm here. And I'm really hoping that you enjoy these conversations, that they help you, even if you're not going through the situations, that you will, pass them along, share them with people, just like people have done with my husband's incredible book called Shrinkage that he wrote about the first year of our battle against brain cancer. It's as much a story of hope and inspiration as it is a story of tips of what you can do and what to expect and how to get through this. Because certainly there are a million things out there that people are facing on their own and they just don't know what to do. A very important note is that these conversations are meant to be wildly inspirational and educational, and they're going to focus on health things, but they're also going to focus on things that are just confusing to people. Confusing about what might be going on with your body. If you're in your mid-40s and you're a woman, there's a lot of changes happening, and what do you do? How do you get through it? How do you kind of get prepared to live the next half of your life? If you're someone who's trying to lose weight, there's a guest who I have on that will post his episode soon. He lost over 100 pounds, but that wasn't an easy process emotionally, physically, intellectually, going through those changes and figuring out what that meant for him and what was next. And also the way that people started to treat him differently. So thinking about weight loss, thinking about hormone stuff, thinking about the importance of blood sugar, just the gut-brain combination and the microbiome. Let's discover the mysteries of that. So it's not all going to be cancer diagnoses, really depressing things. We're here to demystify things that people might just get a little bit uncomfortable talking about. The word menopause, don't know about that one. Having issues in your body, I don't know. Like, let's just not really cover those topics. No, we're going to cover all of them. We're going to get into every single thing. And if you have ideas for them, I can't wait to hear them too. So please enjoy the episodes. If you would like to connect with me, certainly visit me at nobodytellsus.com. You can email me at Christie@nobodytellsus.com. And on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, it's at Nobody Tells Us as well. And without further ado, I hope you skip on to the first official episode. Thanks so much, and I hope you enjoy what nobody tells us.